Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday Night Live stream. Hope you're all well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend, and I hope your week, is going well so far. How the devil is everyone? What have you been up to? What's your plans tonight? Who's doing a bit of hobby in the background? Who's just sitting, chilling, and listening to what we're talking about tonight? Let me know what you're up to. If you're first time here, give me a little wave in the chat and say hello. Always good to say hello to the new ones. If you've been here before but you've never chatted before, give me a little wave as well. It'll be always good to say hello. So we'll have a look and see who we've got with us this evening. I know we did have Clyde Dashing and Super Pumpkin Man in the chat very, very early. So hello to both of you gents. Got Type 40 Taurus. We got Mark Berracloth. Good evening to you both as well. Christian Reeves. Hello fella. How you doing? We've got Blizzards in there. Super Pumpkin Man saying hello and good afternoon to everybody. Wayne Hayward. Evening to you, sir. Big Dave. Good evening. John Shepherd's in as well. Hello, John. We've got Haxan in as well, saying good evening. Zingbo's in the chat. Good evening to you as well. Dan Pillow, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Hope you're well. Tyrion saying hello from Nottingham there as well. John Shepherd saying he went down to Partisan at Newark yesterday. I've heard lots of good things about Partisan. It feels to me like Partisan is one of those kind of gaming shows that is big enough for it to be worth attending, but it hasn't become so big that it's just like a big shopping trip kind of thing. It's an old school kind of gaming, I wouldn't necessarily even say a convention, but like kind of meet up type place. And I've heard nothing but good things about it, so maybe I'll make the trip one day. Tony Howell, hello to you, mate. How you doing? Your little diorama is coming on absolutely amazingly, mate. We've got Ed in as well there as well. Major Tom, good evening. Must Contain Mini saying hello from Canada. Hello to you as well, mate. Luke Pryor, hello, son. How you doing? Clycian, indeed. Evening. Somberlin, good evening to you as well. John F says from Nottingham-ish. That sounds very, it's like I'm on a witness protection program. I can't give you the exact details, but I'm Nottingham-ish. Sounds about right. Tyrion saying, yeah, Partisan was great. You missed the winner. I've never been to Partisan, mate. Newark's just that kind of like, I have to make a bit of a kind of like a real effort to get there. I feel like it's not like those kind of war game shows don't strike me as the kind of ones where I'd want to spend the extra money for like overnight hotels and stuff, but they're a little bit far away to kind of make it a bit of a day trip thing without it being a really long day. So I have to kind of weigh those things up a little bit. RPD, hey, good evening to you. Weetabix, hello as well. Colin Wakeland saying good evening all. Lord Novus, afternoon everyone. He's saying good afternoon to you too. John saying, yeah, International Mad of Mystery. Luke says Partisan seems like a must for historical gamers. Yeah, I think a lot of those kind of like even Salute to an extent as well is still very much steeped in that old school wargaming conventions of the past. And in my opinion, hasn't really moved on from that very much. And although it's grown and that's brought in more kind of variety of stuff, it's still very much that old school kind of historical event type thing. And like there used to be, I'm not even sure if it still happens now, but there used to be one in the northeast called the Border Reavers. Is that the one I'm thinking of? No, there's another one that used to happen in Middlesbrough as well. I forget what it was called now. Something ground. Anyway, I've been to that one a couple of times. And whilst it's nice to support kind of like local events, and I kind of enjoyed myself, if you like, it's very much like historical stuff. Like, Colin saying I'm Nottingham-ish also, but I wonder if you're in the same Nottingham-ish area, or are you the other side of Nottingham? Are you like not even anywhere near each other? But you're not in. I'm Nottingham-ish, and I'm in Newcastle. Yeah, Luke's saying not far from me, and I've always meant to go. Type 40 Charlotte saying fine, took the plunge and bought a whole pre-painted Italian villa scenery set for the Carnivale board. Very nice, mate. I must admit, like, Carnivale is a game I just wouldn't get to the table often enough. I don't have the kind of like the friends to play it with. But I've always fancied the kind of like building a beautiful Venetian table for it, I must admit. RPD says I'm Swansea-ish. Ish is just it from now, isn't it? John says I often just day trip day trip, but I'm from Seaham. You must have a lot more commitment than me, mate. I'm not that far north of Seaham, to be fair. I'm probably like another half an hour further north or something like out of the coast. Maybe a little bit longer, 40 minutes maybe max. Luke says Salute felt very historical this year. Yeah, it's one of those things, mate, where I want to love Salute. Like I love UK Games Expo. We might have a chat about that later on. It's coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm excited for it. I love UK Games Expo, but I love UK Games Expo for the expo that it is. It really is an event. It is something to like really make me want to attend. There's so much there to do. There's so much to see. It's on for 3 days, and for me personally, there's enough to spend 3 days there. I love the kind of like, I love catching up with old friends there. I love spending time in the evenings, having a beer, having some food, playing some games together. It gives me an opportunity to speak to different companies and kind of, from a business point of view, for me personally, set up some meetings and things. It allows you to try out a game and maybe get some footage or get an interview, or it allows me to try a game that's going to Kickstarter and I might want to back later in the year. There's all sorts of other live things happening as well. And it's a real family atmosphere, and there are lots and lots of things to see and do. Salute, however, feels like the old school kind of local conventions that got bigger, but just all they ever did was just keep adding tables on the end, and it was just more of the same. And that's kind of how Salute is for me. And I don't mind that for a smaller local show that you kind of want to kind of help and support, but something that bills itself as the biggest one-day show in the UK, I feel it's time it stepped up a little bit and kind of improved its offering. And I've said this many times, I might feel differently about it because I'm so far away from it. If I was a bit closer, maybe I'd quite enjoy the kind of like the 3 or 4 hours there. But yeah, a bit different. Hello to the Hellstorm Wargaming folks. I've just been watching you, Mikey, with your conversation about the Quackalope stuff and very quietly just sitting in the background. Hello to any folks that has just arrived there from Hellstorm. Good evening to you lot. Let's have a little look, see where else we're up to here as well. John F says, by the way, I'm blaming you for my firefighter addiction. I'll hold my hands up, mate. No blame, no what's the word? No claim, no blame. Yeah, Clyde saying there's worse addictions to have. Joachim, hello mate. He says hello from VG and Joachim, hanging out in Sweden. So that's where all the cool kids go and hang out in Sweden now, is it? I saw your picture today, having a few bevies in the sunshine. I'm very, very jealous. Colin saying I'm Mansfield. John says Border Reaver used to be great when it used to be at the arena. Yeah, I think the last one I went to was probably was it at the Gateshead Stadium? And I also went to one that was in Middlesbrough as well, at like a big kind of sort of community centre type thing, which again was great for like a local event, but yeah, still very historically biased. A bit of chat about locations there. Orgy says, good evening all. Not up to much. I'm throwing in the towel on the painting challenge. Haven't been able to get anything started that's sustainable. Yeah, that's different, man. Yeah, if you can't find something, don't sweat it. Ed saying UK Games Expo is a different order of magnitude than Salute. I agree, mate. However, UK Games Expo used to be much smaller. The first UK Games Expos that I went to were in like a hotel in Birmingham. And I remember going to play in the War Machine UK Nationals there. And it reminds me now, looking back on how it used to be, very much how Vapnatak is in York. It was that kind of a feel of place where it was like it grown from being a small kind of convention into a slightly bigger one in this hotel. I think it was the Strathallan Hotel in Birmingham. And there was a lot of stalls. There wasn't as much demoing of stuff, and it has definitely grown and become something bigger. The difference with Salute is I feel they've got the space to do something different. They just don't. They just do the same thing every single year. They just keep repeating the same thing. Where I feel UK Games Expo has grown and they've improved upon it year upon year upon year. Another convention or another event that I think does something very similar is Aircon. started off as kind of Aircon was literally like a guy having a few friends round for the weekend in his house. Probably started with like 5 or 6 people, and it's grown to be this now weekend-long sort of gaming convention that is very much more focused around people getting together and playing games rather than being like a shopping trip. But it's grown and it's evolved, and it's become bigger than the sum of its parts. I think UK Games Expo did exactly the same thing on a bigger scale. I just feel like Salute has kind of stagnated. Hello to Frantic, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. John Shepard saying he picked up the Speed Paint 2 mega set at Partisan. Very nice. Nice to see folks picking up paint sets and getting the brushes out. I'm just clicking some YouTube studio buttons in the background here so I can see what the hell is happening. Hellstorm Wargaming. Hello, Mikey, if you're still around, mate. Zingbo said he signed up for 4 RPG sessions at the Games Expo. This should leave me plenty of time to look around the trade halls, but for me, I need the mix of RPGs and the Expo side. Yeah, I think that's for me is the balance of having a little bit of something for everyone. Type 40 Tardis is saying, got noticed today's TT Combat Paint Kickstarter arrives on Thursday. Can't wait. You will be impressed, mate. I've been using them in the background. I actually used them to paint up my last God tier stuff. Did I use them or did I use the Duncan Road stuff? I forget now, but they worked fantastically well. No, I used those. I used the TT Combat stuff. I used the Duncan Road stuff to start painting my what's it called? My Conquest stuff. That's what I was starting with. Mikey's saying looking forward to hanging out at UK Games Expo. Absolutely, mate. I think we deserve to have a little beer and a catch up. 100%. Cripple Fox Gaming, John Jack and Ellie, hello to you folks. Says I've got nothing going today. Time to ring the bell for Demonship. Yeah, I've got my Demonship stuff almost printed out here. I've got a couple of little bits of terrain to do. We might have a chat about Demonship later on. I'm absolutely kind of ignoring Demonship as an actual game itself. I just love the idea of a really small, self-contained game, simple rules, something you could literally just sort of play on a little coffee table in front of you. The way Demonship works is it plays on a little 6-inch by 6-inch grid. Think of it like a board game type thing. And you basically set up the room according to whereabouts you are inside the demon ship, and you put the bits of terrain in the right place to kind of make a path to get through. And when you reach the door on the other side, you then reset the board to the next room and work your way through the ship. So rather than having like a huge big board or a massive big layout, you've got this nice little self-contained kind of sort of refreshing map, which I just think is a really, really cool idea. I love the fact that it doesn't need expansions. It doesn't need to grow arms and legs. It doesn't need loads of stats for miniatures. It's just like, here's this thing, go away and enjoy it kind of thing. And when you've had enough of it, pass it on to somebody else or something like that. Frantic says Mikey's stream came for the box, stayed for the drama. Yes, we might get on to drama, and I don't mean talk about the drama, just drama in general later on maybe. Lucian, what's the current painting challenge? So the current painting challenge at the minute is May B, as in it's the month of May, and then B as in maybe there was something you wanted to paint and you haven't got finished yet. Maybe you're starting a new army, or maybe it's just something beginning with B. Maybe you're using blue as your main colour. Maybe you're painting a behemoth. Maybe you're painting a beastman army. So May B is this month's challenge. Dan Pillow says I really can't wait for this year's expo. Loads of stuff to try out and people to meet. Yeah, the only thing I've been struggling a bit is on the expo website they've put out a map of where everything is and like numbers of all the different stalls, and then they've got a list of all the people that are attending, but the list of people that are attending doesn't have the numbers of where their stalls are next to them. Maybe I'm missing it somewhere, but I was looking today to try and make a bit of a plan of attack for stuff. Could I hellas find who was where? Yeah, Luke's saying Aircon's my happy place. Yeah, I've only got good sort of experiences from Aircon, mate. Peter Kuhlman, good evening to you, mate. He's finishing his Kill Team Octorious terrain set. Red Rose Wargaming, hiya Anna. I hope you've managed to get that 3D print sorted. That first layer is always a killer. We've got ER910, greetings to you. RG says the Quackalo debate is very interesting. Be interested to see how this eventually pans out for all concerned and how it impacts the Kickstarter review space. I caught a tail end of what Mikey was saying about this, and I kind of I can't say I agree with everything Mikey said because I didn't hear everything Mikey said, but I must say I kind of agree with him in terms of his thoughts on what he thinks the process was. I think it's been blown out of proportion a little bit. I think there's been wrong things done on both sides, and I think that as the internet does, the internet has decided it's picked its side, and no matter what the truth is, to hell with the truth, to hell with the facts. That's just what we think, so that's what's happening, kind of thing. And technically, I don't think there's anything wrong with the conversation that happened. I just think some people have taken some things out of context. I think some people kind of they see the high price that was kind of talked about and maybe don't understand how things work. And I think what I will say is, without getting into the drama side of things, is that there's essentially 3 different types of content you can make when it comes to this kind of sort of like Kickstarter type stuff and board game reviews and miniature games reviews. You can do a review, and a review video is, I've got the game in my hands, even a prototype copy of it. I've got the game in my hands, I've got the rules, I've played the game a few times now, multiple playthroughs to try different aspects. I've played it solo, I've played it with multiple people, kind of thing, all those kind of things. And here is my review, here is my opinion, kind of thing. This is what I think of the game. If you like the games that I like, you might agree with my opinion. If you don't like the games, if you're the opposite of me and I don't like this game, maybe this game's for you. That is an out-and-out review. And my personal opinion is you should never, ever, ever have any payments changing hands for a review. You might need the product to be able to kind of to appraise it and review it. That's normal, whether that's video games, whether you're reviewing mobile phones, whether you're doing a food review or something like that. You might be provided with the item to be able to kind of to review it. However, no money should change hands for a review. The next kind of content is you can get a preview. And a preview is something where the game isn't available yet. You can't get your hands on it. You might have saw something online. The company might have sent you like a press release with some information about what you can expect from the game. This is very common when it comes to things like Kickstarters. The company might have played, like they might have done a gameplay video and then I watch it and I tell you what I think based upon what I've seen. Shatterpoint is a prime example of this. I've not played Shatterpoint. All my opinions on Shatterpoint were based upon what I'd seen online, what I'd read online, what I'd heard from people who'd had demos. And a preview is where I kind of give you my opinion on something based upon my limited knowledge and experience of that product. I've not played the game, but these are thoughts on what I've seen so far, kind of thing. And again, I don't think they should be paid for. They are. If I'm giving you my opinion, there should be no money changing hands. The third type of content is essentially promotion, and there'll be times when a company will say, "We would like you to promote our game, or we would like you to promote our Kickstarter. We want you to record a gameplay of it and show like kind of people how to play the game." Maybe it'll be hosted on the content creators channel, maybe it'll be hosted on the company's channel, but we will pay you for your time to basically kind of play through the game and show people how to play it. Now, in these kind of videos, there is no opinion involved. This is purely a kind of a case of and I'm saying I as in like sort of I'm the creator and all the different creators. We are the people that then present this thing to you for you to make up your own mind based upon the information that we share. And that is not that I would not be giving my opinion in that kind of thing. And that is where I think paid and sponsored content can live in that kind of third little box. It's obviously marked up because it has to be that it is a paid promotion. And that way basically people are aware of it. Now, where this all gets kind of muddy and messed up is there are channels who do paid promotion stuff and don't make it obvious. There are people who do paid reviews and don't tell people that they're being paid for them. There are people that do paid previews for Kickstarter and don't tell people they're getting paid for them. And then this just muddies the water for everybody else. I'm not going to call out particular channels or anything like that, but there are some channels who get paid by companies to feature their games in almost every single video they do, and not one of them videos are ever tagged as paid promotions. They are all adverts. They are all videos where the company is paying this creator or these creators to showcase, advertise their video, push it in front of their audience. And I think that this is where this gets all really messy. And some of that conversation comes out in that email trail with the Quackalope thing. And I think people are maybe just kind of muddying everything up a little bit. So my personal opinion is, there wasn't any blackmail in this kind of thing. It wasn't kind of saying, we'll put a positive spin on this for money kind of thing. There wasn't anything like that. And I think people are maybe misinterpreting some of the terminology, some of the conversations, and I think some of the parties have been a little bit vocal around things that actually haven't kind of, when the email trail has come out, maybe the company hasn't behaved in the same way as they maybe first sort of said. So yeah, that's my opinion on that kind of stuff when it comes to that. I'm not going to call out particular channels. I think it's hard. I think the problem is people look at reviews for opinions. People look at reviews and hope and expect that people are given their genuine thoughts, and that they are given their honest opinions. Will there be some bias when people are working with companies? So you could say that, let's just say, for example, company A pays me to make a video for them, and then they go, oh, and by the way, we've got this new game coming out. Would you like a copy to review? No payment involved in this one. It's basically there's a review copy. You say what you like about it. Now people would potentially could think that, well, he's only saying nice things because he got paid for the other video. So it becomes really muddy, and it becomes a conscious bias type thing, and it becomes like, are people I don't think anybody is completely unbiased. I think even if you say you're unbiased, like I'm biased because there's certain kind of games I like. So if I say to you, I don't like, let's just say Warhammer Fantasy, because it's not around anymore. I don't like Warhammer Fantasy. Is that because I don't really like it, because it's not a very good game, or is it because I'm biased because I don't really want to paint like 300 models, and I think the aesthetic's not really my type, and fantasy's not necessarily my favorite kind of sort of genre. So I have biases outside of the things about money changing hands and all of that kind of thing. And I think over time, as more and more creators have managed to find a way to make enough money to make this work as a full-time job, money starts changing hands and things get a little bit muddy. And I think really that's where we are now. And I don't think necessarily people get to see how the sausage is made, shall we say. Matt saying, hello everyone. He says, how's everyone doing this evening? I'm doing very well, Matt. Thanks for asking. John says, was the show at Middlesbrough Parade Ground? It might be, mate. I'm not really sure where that was. It was a long time ago. Something ground in my head rings a bell, so it could well have been. Christian, they're saying they support the channel from as little as $2 a month. Thank you very much for that, Christian. One of the reasons I do Patreon is the fact is that if I can get money from a community that supports me and wants to see my content, that's money I don't have to try and find elsewhere. So the more I am supported by the people that view me, the more and more independent I can be away from sponsored content and that type of thing. If I don't make much from Patreon, I have to try and pay the bills somewhere else, and this is where it all gets kind of balanced. So a timely mention there. Thank you, Christian. Dan says, someone did an unofficial update of the expo map with the company's names on their stalls. We'll look to find it. Yeah, I'd like to see that, mate. Thank you very much. James Bray, good evening to you, mate. Lee Russ, good evening as well. RG says, reminds me of a divorce lawyer. There's your truth and there's their truth, and then there's the actual truth. Yeah, exactly, mate. And I guess for me personally, I can only tell you my opinions and how I deal with things when it comes to my channel. Like, just because I do things a certain way doesn't mean A, it's the best way, doesn't mean B, it's the only way, and it doesn't mean C, that everybody does it the same way. It's just the way that I've always done it. I will never ever do a review for money. I have never been paid for a review, and I would never accept money for a review. I also wouldn't change my opinion on something if money was involved or not involved. My opinion is my opinion. There are many games that I've been sent to review, and I've struggled to play the games because the rules just weren't very good. And rather than just making a video where I basically just slate the game and say how bad it is, because it might not be a bad game, it might be me having a bad day, not being able to get my head around the rules. Maybe it's me that's the problem and not the game. So generally, I would then contact the publisher and say, I'm not having a good time with the game. I'm really struggling to kind of to make it work. In this instance, I'm not going to submit a review for the video. So this is not me being artificially positive about things. And if people have asked me about stuff, I'll in a live stream, I would say I struggled with it. I couldn't really get this to table. The He-Man game, the first He-Man game, the board game by Archon Studios is a prime example of that. They sent me out the board game. And I really struggled with it. I didn't, not that I couldn't play the game, just that I did not find it fun. It felt like a standard board game with a He-Man skin over the top. It didn't feel like themed to He-Man, and I just didn't feel that, one, it was worthwhile me sort of taking the time to make a video about it and essentially just being negative about the game for the sake of being negative because I didn't enjoy it. I'm sure other people kind of would have. What I found strange was other channels made videos about it and said about how amazing it was, and I thought, okay, right, yeah, maybe we're on different wavelengths, or maybe we just like different games. So yeah, I would never do that. I also wouldn't do like a preview type thing and expect money for it, because I think a preview, you're still giving your opinion on it. You've got limited information because you've not managed to play the game. And for me to say to you, there's this Kickstarter coming up that I'm quite interested in. It ticks a lot of boxes. I like the look of this. I like the look of that. This gameplay seems really fun. It's right up my street. It's the kind of thing I enjoy. And then accept money from a company to say those things. That to me is like a review without playing it, and I think that's wrong as well. However, there will be and have been instances where I have basically presented something to people as a paid promotion type thing, and I've tagged it as that because that's different, and that's what manages to keep the lights on and stuff. Hello, Tasty Brain Drain. You come seeing VJ here, Andy, and limited knowledge never. There are some subjects I have limited knowledge on. Deep Red, hail and well met to you as well. Matt says, UK law, you have to stipulate whether you're doing a paid promotion. You do, mate, as well. And also, it's not just UK law, it is law within YouTube as well. That when you are setting up your video, there are questions that you are asked when you are setting it to go live. And one of the questions you are asked is, does this video contain paid promotion? And if it does, you have to tick the box. And what that does is that will put a tag up in the top left hand corner of the video every time the video starts saying contains paid promotion or something like that. I think Games Workshop ask any of the creators they work with, even though they don't pay them physical cash, I think when they hand over free product, they want it to be made very, very clear that it's that they have been given free product, and so they ask people to tag it as a paid promotion, even though it's technically not paid, but they are receiving free goods, if you like. So that I think Games Workshop like to try and kind of belt and braces and tick all of the boxes and stuff. But yeah, not every company I would say is as open and honest about that kind of stuff. Here comes VJ saying, yeah, I'm not going to mention any names, mate, but we all know. John Reynolds says it's not worth doing paid content without being honest about it. Broken trust with your audience is almost impossible to rebuild. I think what happens, mate, is I think sometimes people just this is people's jobs, and whether you think along the lines of like get a proper job or something like that, or whether you think it's like it's a joke, you should be doing this for your hobby, not for a job kind of thing. You should be doing it for the love of it. All those people, there are lots of people have all of those different opinions. The top and bottom of it is that it is a job for some people. It's a job for me. I might not need to earn as much money as some other people do to make it work, but it is still my job, and I still need to earn money to make it work. Otherwise, I have to quit all of this and I have to get a proper job kind of thing. And even if that job's working in a coffee shop for 3 or 4 hours a day while the little one's at school, then maybe that's what I need to do to kind of keep the lights on. But this is my job and I have to make it work. And I've chosen to try to make it work by doing things like people who join the YouTube membership program and pay for that, people who do donations through the super chat, people who do Patreon and support me through that. I get a small amount of money each month from ad revenue. So every time you watch a video, if there's an advert on it and you watch a certain percentage of that advert, I get a small kickback from that. I've got an Amazon affiliate link, so if anybody shops through Amazon, I make a little bit money back through that. I've done things like selling merchandise. And then I've also done stuff where I've hired myself out as a studio with my cameras and my editing equipment, and I have made videos for other people as well. And that is another way to kind of, so I am then a freelance videographer, if you like, where I have videoed other people's stuff. They've put it up on their channel. They've hired me for my studio, for my camera equipment, for my editing, for my time, for my kind of Photoshop, and all that kind of stuff. And then they've paid me a fee for doing that kind of thing. And then the smallest of all of these different pieces, because I haven't done it very often, is there have been times when I have been paid to promote a product, and those videos will have been sort of tagged accordingly as well. But that happens a lot less. I'm not necessarily as big a channel as some other ones. Some other channels might get lots of adverts and, you know, all this Squarespace and HelloFresh and all that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily get contact with that kind of stuff because maybe my videos don't get the views. If I did Warhammer videos, I might get a few more sponsorship things. But it's all these things where you try and kind of, you pull a little bit from pool A and a little bit from pool B and a little bit from pool C. However, some channels do a lot of paid promotion stuff, and especially in the board gaming world where there are a lot more companies and there are a lot more Kickstarters going live on a daily basis, there's a lot more money out there to be had if you are a channel of a certain size and you want to go down that route. And I think that's essentially, well, by the sound of things, where Quackalope is. Yoakum says, I've been on planes, I haven't heard anything about this Quackalope thing, can someone catch me up? I don't really want to kind of go into the major details of it, but if you search online, mate, you will find out the details very, very quickly. Matt says, the minute it's paid content, there's... where was this? I just jumped off my screen there. Let me just go back. The minute it's paid content, there's automatically an air of distrust attached to the review. They should not, in my opinion, there should not be any paid content that is a review. You should not be given your opinion for money, in my personal opinion. Like, as soon as somebody hands me money, there is an obligation for me that I am now working for that third party, and therefore there are things that third party will want me to say and probably don't want me to say. Nobody is going to pay me to say bad things about them, are they? So therefore, that's why it is purely, in my eyes, it is purely a promotional piece where I am presenting something to the consumer. I am not giving my opinion on it, and I am not selling this as in I think this is fantastic, you should buy it kind of thing. There's never a hard sell type thing. But yeah, I can't say that's the same for every channel, unfortunately. Yeah, RG saying not going to be able to do it in a series of 200 character posts. Yeah. David says, when looking at reviews and opinions, I look at what other games the content creator likes, give me an idea of their bias in games. Or yeah, we're all biased. You're all biased as well. There are things you like, there are things you don't like. I love skirmish games. I love skirmish games that have cards, that they have the rules in front of me. I like games that use alternatives to using dice because I find that quite exciting. I'm not a huge fan of games that roll buckets and bucketfuls of dice kind of thing, and you're constantly sort of checking all of that. I'm not hugely into games where I have to consult a table every single time. So those are some of my biases. So when I come into a game, when I find a game that ticks lots of boxes of the things I like, I'm generally going to be positive about it. There are things that I want to look at, like the quality of the miniatures that are involved, the presentation of the rule book, how easy is it to just actually learn and play the game from the rules, how much does it cost to buy, because it's all right having a great game to play, but if it costs 700 quid, it's a bit out of most people's price range. So there are lots of things I will look for, but I still have biases. So, like, as in there are things that I like and things I don't like. You can never take that out of a review kind of thing. Let's have a look. Robin Mankiller says, hello, Jack. How are you? I'm all right. Thanks, mate. Thanks for asking. How are you? Tony saying sausages. Yeah, nobody wants to know how the sausages are made. That's it. Battleground, maybe John says. It might have been that, mate. It does seem to ring a bell. Let's have a little look. Lee's saying there, I think Offline Gamer often do an expo map every year. I'll have to look out for that, mate, yeah. VJ said, on a scale of 0 to Highlander, how bad was He-Man? Let's say I played Highlander more than once, because when I played Highlander, I was like, I must have got this wrong. It can't be like this kind of thing. So Highlander was a game that didn't take too long to set up, and when I didn't enjoy it, I played it again to make sure I was playing it right, and then I played it a third time as well, I think, to make sure that I wasn't getting things wrong. And then I think I might have even played it a fourth time with somebody else to make sure, it can't be as bad as I think it is here. It was. He-Man, I was going through the setup. I played it like solo, played as both sides to basically try and teach myself the game, to then sit down and play with somebody else and play the game properly. And as I was going through it, it felt like somebody had went, oh, I really like this idea from this game, and I really like this idea from this game, and I really like this idea from this game. Let's put them all together and make a game. And those kind of different elements didn't hang together. So it was almost like, imagine playing Warhammer, and you go, right, I'm gonna move these miniatures across the board. I get to this point. Right now I'm going to attack you. Hang on a second. Let's go and have a game of noughts and crosses, and that'll be how we work out who wins the battle. So you kind of leave this bit behind and go over there and do that. And right now I want to cast magic spell on this thing. So hang on a second. We need to go over there. We need to go and do something else here. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that was kind of how the game felt. And then it felt like, right, we've got this game now. What should we do with it? Oh, I think we could get the He-Man license, and we'll just kind of like, we'll just sprinkle that over the top. We can make the map look like the world that He-Man's in, like Eternia, and we can just make the characters different, kind of like He-Man characters. And that was how the game felt to me, really. So technically, it wasn't a bad game, like as in, I'm sure it was playable and it was easy to learn from the rules and stuff like that. I just didn't feel like the theme fitted the game, and I didn't feel like the game ran smoothly. I think other people might have different opinions, but it wasn't my kind of thing. Let's have a little look down here. Greg's Cherry saying, after playing MCP, are you fine with the funky SharePoint cover on Elevation? Two guys on the same bridge have cover from one another. Yes and no, Greg. Am I fine with it? Them's the rules, as they say, and I will play it to the rules kind of thing. And once you kind of played it a few times, it'll just be like, yeah, I know it's goofy, I know it sounds stupid, but yeah, that's how the rules are. As long as you know, and as long as I know, kind of thing, it's fine. In reality, when I'm playing it kind of casually with like a mate that plays once in a blue moon, or I'm playing it with one of my sons, we probably won't rule it like that. We'll probably rule it if there's something in between us, there's cover. If there's nothing in between us, like there's no cover. Like almost a pseudo, like kind of true line of sight type thing. I think for casual games, we'll probably house rule it kind of thing. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I say, it's a hangover from Marvel Crisis Protocol as well. I'm sure. I like the fact that it's clear. Whether you agree with it or not is kind of irrelevant, but it is clear kind of thing. And that's, I guess I like it from that respect. John saying, yeah, it's Battleground. It's held in November in Stockton. That's the one, mate. It was in November because it was on my birthday weekend, how I remember it, and it was in Stockton. Yeah. John Jackson has been a glut of board games with cool minis in them. I've never understood other than seem ineffective $150 board game with minis. Toy painter factors can only carry over so far. I think what's happened with Kickstarter, mate, is that essentially what we've got is we have a world now where everybody can access like plastic production now, miniature production, because everybody gets that big chunk of money up front from Kickstarter and then can afford to go away and manufacture the bits and pieces. It's like they come up with a business plan and then they wait for everybody to give them the money and then they go and make it. Where in the past, in the dark ages, you needed to have that money up front to produce that product and then go please buy it. I've just invested £400,000 in tooling for plastic miniatures. Because that is a thing, that become a big thing on Kickstarter. And then what happened was the ball started rolling, was like, yeah, but we've got this new game now and it's $200 and you get twice as many minis as what you got in that $151. And then, we've got this $300 game and you get 10 times the amount of money. And it became like miniatures, and the volume of stuff you got in a box was equated with the value proposition type thing, regardless of whether you would ever use all those minis in the game, regardless of how good the rules were. Batman Gotham City Chronicles. It became about how much stuff do you get kind of thing. And I would like it to go back to the days of actually, this game's really good and also it's got some nice minis in it kind of thing. As opposed to, look at this box of shit. Look at how much shit you get in this box. Just buy it. Doesn't matter what the game's like, just buy it. Ed says, not every company is as honest as GW. I wouldn't say not every company is as honest as GW. I would say GW try not to leave themselves open to any legal claims. They have a legal team. They have a big HR department. Not every company is as worried, shall we say. Honest is not the word I used, I don't think. Matt says, there's potential damage to a brand if a YouTuber doesn't mention it's a paid promotion. People are going to assume the company that sent over the product or cash are trying to be sneaky. I think the worst thing, mate, is it's not about them being sneaky. It's about the fact that if I start talking about a game and don't disclose the fact that I was paid money to talk about this game, the assumption from you will be what Andy's telling me is his own opinion without any added bias other than his own personal bias of the things he likes and dislikes. And if he says he likes this, well, I like the other stuff that he said that he liked, so this must be really good. So if I start telling you this is Game of the Year material, this game is absolutely fantastic, I've not played a better game this year, go and buy it, and I've been paid to make that video, then, and I don't declare it, that's when the reputation. But the problem is, people don't find that out. So people's reputation doesn't get harmed because people don't find out. And I'm not saying that's what happened here with the Quackalope thing, but because people got to see the sausage machine, people got to see the email trail of the discussions that go backwards and forwards between creators and games companies, because that email exchange is something quite common. I've had similar kind of conversations with companies where they say, we'd really like you to kind of to promote one of our games on your channel. Do you have like a rate card? And a rate card is essentially like, for this kind of video, it costs this much money, and those kind of things are based upon, if you want me to just promote your product and say, here's a Kickstarter coming out, these are all the things that's involved in it, this is when it goes live, please go and check it out, then that'll be one rate. If you want me to sit and paint all the miniatures and you want me to do a gameplay video, which takes me time to prep and learn and understand and film and have multiple cameras and get other people involved and edit it into a nice kind of package, then that will be again that will be a different rate. And so that's what companies kind of ask, and is that backwards and forwards, and that is quite common. And sometimes things happen and sometimes things don't happen. I think people just saw, because what Quackalope was proposing was a multiple video sponsorship where he would make, I think it was 5 videos, and he was asking for $7,500, which people might go, Jesus Christ, $7,500. But that was about $1,500 per video. He has people who work for him as well. There's all sorts of things involved. He has a bigger audience than I do, and his rates will reflect that kind of thing. And the company could have chose to say, no, that's more than we're willing to spend. But as the email trail goes on, you can see that they maybe didn't want to do 5 videos. They maybe only wanted to do 1, but they were quite happy, shall we say, with the $1,500 for a video, for one video as a test. I think was how it was phrased. So yeah, so I think it's the honesty thing of, do people know in advance this is a paid promotion, and they know they're being advertised to? Because we're not like, ShatterPoint is a prime example. We're talking about ShatterPoint there. I've not played a demo of the game yet. All of the information I've told you is from what I've seen online and how I feel about it. I was not sent a demo copy or a review copy of SharePoint. Lots of other people have been. I was never contacted. I never contacted them. I've bought a copy of SharePoint, and I'm waiting like everybody else for my copy of SharePoint to be delivered when it launches on June the 2nd, I think it is, or June the 1st. So I'm excited for it. I'm in exactly the same boat that everybody else out there is in, is that I am an excited consumer. I've paid for my product and I can't wait for it to come, and I'm looking forward to enjoying it. So you can know that everything I'm telling you about SharePoint is what I think about it. I don't have any affiliation with Asmodee Games or AMG or anything like that. There are other channels who've been sent it, and they're all starting to show it off now. And I'm not saying that they're all giving it positive reviews, but they've been given their product purely to show off. And as long as no money has changed hands, then they basically are, they can technically review it without bias. That's what I would say. Let's have a little look down here. Oh, I hate the way that just like jumps ahead there. Where are we up to? Oh, let me try and find the chat. Massively jumped ahead there. I kind of went to scroll down one bit and then it flew ahead. There we are. There we're going. Must contain mini says, I always tag the promotion button when I receive the product free from the company I'm talking about, but if I have related affiliate links in the description, then I hit the same tag. I tend not to have affiliate links in my videos in terms of like sort of like I might tell you you can buy this product here, but I won't be making any commission from it or anything like that, so I wouldn't tag something like that. I tend not to tag it if I've been sent a review copy, but I will say so in the video. I was sent this copy for review by the supplier, by the manufacturer, by the company, so I will make that kind of clear when that happens. But I wouldn't tag it as a paid promotion because I don't want to muddy the water between videos where I have been paid and they are tagged as a paid promotion, and videos where I've been sent a review copy to have my honest opinion without any stipulation about what I can and can't say, kind of thing. So that's how I kind of do mine. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but that's kind of, at least that's my kind of sort of methodology. Christian sharing the link there as well, talking about chilling out. Sharing the link there for my Teespring merch. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, Matt's just saying, yeah, it's literally the eye candy to sell the game. Must contain mini says, I always wondered if people thought I was paid in actual cash because of the paid promotion tag, but I have yet to make money for a video or post. Yeah, I guess that goes back to what I was saying, and it's why I've tried to delineate the difference between the two things. RG saying, my understanding is Quackalope spent 50 hours doing content for Eon's Odyssey, got a Patreon to teach the rules, found it difficult, and he had a negative view. So if I give you a really quick summary of it, he was sent a copy of the game to review. No money had changed hands. There was no expectation of money changing hands. He then got in touch with the company and proposed that they do some paid content together. Gave them a fee of $7,500 for 5 pieces of content, of which he agreed with the company, and the company stipulated some things about no negative bits, blah, blah, blah. They stipulated that there'd be no comparisons to other games, there'd be no opinion type stuff, it would be a playthrough, a tactics type video. It was all content the way I've explained to you where I think paid promotion should be. Videos where you're not giving an opinion, you are teaching the consumer how to play the game and promoting it on behalf of the company and staying within those guidelines. He proposed that. They came back and said, well, it's a bit more than we'd normally spend, but it's something manageable. How about we do one as a test or something like that? And there was a little bit of back and forth about that kind of thing. Then essentially there was a period of time where wasn't much happening, and in the background they got one of their Patreons to kind of come over, spend a week with them, where they thought, well, we'll get ahead of the game a little bit here. We will start to kind of we'll film some playthrough stuff, and we'll also film our reviews, our opinions. And he does something called something bias, is it cognitive bias or something like that, where he basically films 2 separate reviews. One is extremely positive, and one is extremely negative. And the reason he does that is because it gives him a way to kind of get 2 videos out of a review, and it also means that he goes to extremes with the opinions, which, you know, extremes drive clicks and sort of clickbait and stuff as well. So it allows him to do it, and he's done this before for other videos. These were never meant to be paid videos. These were always meant to just be personal opinion videos of him and the other people on the channel playing the game and what they thought. And they started filming those because basically they hadn't got anywhere with this conversation about the stuff. The conversation then went on where the company then come back and says, "Oh, actually, yeah, we might, you know, we could be interested in doing this. How about this type of video? How about that?" And he went back and said, "Look, we're in the background. We've been trying to play this. We've filmed some stuff already. I'm not really enjoying the game. We're finding it really difficult. The rules are quite hard to follow. They're quite hard to read. If you really do want to do some paid promotion work, what we're willing to do is kind of basically scrap the videos we've already made and film some new content that is within the guidelines of what we talked about. No negative stuff, just gameplay type stuff, tactic type stuff, setup type stuff, rules videos type things, promotional videos." And basically there was a bit more back and forth. It got to a point where I think there was about a month and a half between the company getting back to him, at which point I guess he just went, "Oh, you know, this is taking too long. Let's just upload the videos we've already made. It looks like nothing's kind of happening with it." And that's what kind of happened. And I think this is where people have kind of got confused. People are now saying that he's trying to blackmail the company by saying, "You either pay us for some sponsored content or we're going to release the negative video." And that's not really, in my understanding, how it kind of panned out. Other people might read it a different way, and the truth might be different, but the way I read it, I didn't see it as negative as everybody else has kind of made it be. However, what it has done is it's lifted the curtain up. It's shown you the sausage machine in the background about the conversations that go backwards and forwards between companies and creators. The big numbers of $7,500 has suddenly made people think, "Whoa, everybody's getting mega bucks from this kind of stuff." I can tell you, people don't get that kind of money on a regular basis. Bigger channels might, but smaller ones generally don't get anywhere near that. But I think it's left a bit of a bitter and sour taste, and the company hasn't reacted particularly very well. And Jesse, who is the guy of Quackalope, basically is out of the country. I think he's away to get married, and he's also a practicing Jew as well. So on a Saturday, I forget what it's called. Is it called? It's not Sabbath. I forget what it's called. But basically, they don't have any technology. They don't work. It's against their religion to work during that time. They don't pick up phone calls, all that kind of stuff. So this all kind of happened at a bit of a bad time for him to respond to it, and it let Reddit and the rest of the world get away from themselves and basically kind of pile on top of him. Which the one thing to come out of this, I would say, is please just be kind to people. Like don't. You can never know the full truth until you've basically walked in their shoes. None of us know the full truth of what happened. Only Jesse and the company involved really know what they think the truth is. And I think piling on top of people and basically kind of the cancel culture that we live in now, like, just be aware, like you don't have to like the guy, you don't have to like his channel, you don't have to watch his channel, you might not even agree with what's happened. But there's no need of kind of like to give people kind of hate mail. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen online, you would think he'd murdered children, not just like had a conversation about money. So yeah, just be kind to people is all I would kind of like basically say to come out of that stuff. That's a bit of chuck. Blizzard says, "I'm biased against games that make you feel obligated to chase a meta." I guess that's just different types of games as well, mate, isn't it? I mean, you're never obligated to chase a meta. The only time you should be chasing a meta is if you choose to play a game competitively and take it very, very seriously. I would suggest outside of that, there is never a need to chase a meta. Let's have a little look here. Matt saying, "Games with metas always make me think the company just wants the ability to push product." There is that, but then that's what the companies do. Of course, companies want to push products. That's how they make money. That's how Games Workshop works. That's how Mantic Games works. That's how Atomic Mass Games works. That's how Infinity works. Like Corvus Belly works. It's how Privateer Press works. They make collectible miniatures games in the same way Magic the Gathering is a collectible card game, and they want you to buy more cards. Like that's just the nature of the beast. It's not something underhand and shady and secret and like, oh, we found out that big secret. That is literally their business model. That's the whole way that they work. If you don't want to play that kind of game, just play a board game where you play a self-contained game with everything inside it. You don't need to buy anything else. Yeah, VJ is saying we played Highlander twice, once to learn how to play, the second time to see if it really was as bad as we thought it was. Yeah, I've been there, mate. RG says, don't like chasing meta games. Sounds like it has one way to win and then it needs changing up to not be stale. I think the problem is when you have a game that you sell and your business model is to sell miniatures and the game is the vehicle to get people to buy miniatures, there's so many moving parts that what will happen is people will work out the most optimum way to do something, and you either nerf those models, improve other things, or release something that counters that particular model's kind of power, and that's what shifts the meta. So I don't think it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that's the way that game works. The alternative is you have a game that is largely unbalanced until the company rebalances it, and then essentially they make everything pretty much the same and never release anything again, kind of thing. So, like I say, it's like Magic the Gathering with new cards coming all the time. It's like any other miniatures game. Miniatures games all have a meta. There is not a miniatures game that doesn't have a meta. Like a collectible miniatures game. It's just that some games are not as popular as others, and it maybe doesn't have the competitive scene, and it doesn't get talked about online as much. Like if you take Carnivale, for example, is not a game you would necessarily say has like a kind of competitive meta, but there is a meta. Like you could play that game and find the most optimal, he says, get your teeth in, the most optimal way to choose your faction and your models to play the game a certain way. It kind of, some people enjoy doing that, some people like to play a story, but unless the game has a very competitive nature with it, like Warhammer 40k, like Magic the Gathering, we tend not to talk about the meta of a game, but every game has a meta. So yeah, that's just how it is. Even board games have a meta. Technically, they have a kind of like a path to win, which is basically like the most optimal way to play the game. And once you work that out, that game becomes pretty boring. If you play a game like Pandemic, for example, there is an optimal way to play that game, and it's a really fun game until you know, well, if I just do this, 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 and this, and this, I basically maximize my chances to win every single time, and then you're not playing the game anymore. You're basically just kind of going through a flow chart of when this happens, do this, when this happens, do this kind of thing. ER910 says 72 viewers, 24 likes. The math is not mathing. Yeah, we could do with a few more likes, folks. Always helps. Matsy and I, home rules solve so many deep issues. VG is passing on a message for Yoakum. How's his he now has his copy of Shatterpoint. It's all right for some, isn't it? Enjoy it, mate. John says 1 hour skirmish war games was a great find for me at a wargaming show. Players up to about 20 figures per side, uses normal pack of playing cards per player. Yeah, there's a lot of games out there, and you know what it is? There's so many good games now. The problem we have now is, and Kickstarter has helped a lot of this, and Games Workshop's dominance has also helped a lot of this as well, as it's pushed its competitors to be better as well. Is what we've got now is we have lots of really, really good rule sets with really, really high quality miniatures, and not enough people playing them. And what happens is there are some fantastic games out there that are flavour of the month for a short period of time, and then people move on to something else. And then there are other games that are just all encompassing and dominate, like Warhammer 40,000, for example. And unfortunately, there are some great stuff out there that just never gets to see the light of day. And there's never an expectation that we all have enough time to play every single game. the hobby side of it, the enjoyment side of it, the fun side of it tells me to tell you, just find the stuff that you enjoy. It doesn't really matter how popular it is. It doesn't matter about chasing metas and all that kind of stuff. Find a way to enjoy your hobby. And if that's just painting some cool minis, if that's playing to a competitive level, whatever it be, find a way to enjoy it. That's what it's about. But yeah, we live in this kind of consumer society. You've got to have everything, must have the latest thing, must try everything, must have an opinion on everything and tell everybody what our opinion is. And it drives a bit of a different kind of shopping and purchase mentality, I would say. Peterson, picking up his copy of Kill Team Gallo Fall tomorrow. Managed to track a copy in French from a local GW. Peterson, I have all 8 big boxes, but no Ashes of Faith. Might call it quits there and enjoy. I guess the question is, I would ask you is have you been enjoying what you've already bought, or is it all largely still just sitting in boxes? Because there is an element of like sort of taking a long, deep, hard look at your own hobby and the way you're sort of purchasing stuff. And are you just buying everything because you feel like you need to have a complete collection, or are you actually buying to enjoy the product that you've bought? Because I would suggest 99.9% of us buy stuff and never really get it to the table nearly as much as we tell ourselves we will when we bought it, or get it painted, or get it displayed, or anything like that. I don't think any of us really get maximum sort of value out of the things that we buy when it comes to this hobby. Greg says, what do you think about SharePoint cover rules? Both models having to cover from each other on the same terrain has been discussed a lot. Yeah, I think I said before, mate, didn't I? I think it's a bit janky, but at least it's clear. And I'll probably house rule it when it comes to kind of like sort of more casual games. Let's have a little look down here. Hacksan saying, I paint minis all the time, but we'll be happy to back a good game with standees. Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor is a great game with stellar production and acrylic standees. I guess it's a difficult one, isn't it? Like certainly the folks I know that are really into board gaming would quite happily just buy board game after board game after board game. They're happy to play it once or twice every now and again, play something else. There's definitely a collector mentality when it comes to board gamers. When it comes to miniature gamers, I think a lot of people like to focus maybe on 1 or 2 games, but then buy everything that comes out for it. I think it's a bit of a different experience, isn't it? Matt says, come for the tabletop games, learn about YouTube, and genuinely interesting to hear about what goes on underneath. Yeah, I'll always be open and honest and kind of like tell you exactly how it works and stuff like that. I don't think anybody, like I've got nothing to hide. Like, there are people who support me through Patreon, they support me through donations, they support me through buying merchandise, they shop on my affiliate links, and they do that because they want to support what I do, they believe in what I'm trying to do, they want to help me, they want to support me. And the least I can do is be honest and open and transparent about what my business ethics are when it comes to running a YouTube channel, about how I make money, about you know, what am I doing in the background that you don't get to see that actually makes this financially viable and make it work. I think the least I can do is be honest with people, like especially as a small business, and when I say a small business, I'm a tiny business in the grand scheme of things. I would make more money collecting trolleys in Tesco's, put it that way. But yeah, it's the least I can do is just tell the truth, you know what I mean, and tell it like it is. It's hard, like it's not always fun, and it's not always easy. And when Patreon numbers start dropping because I've lost Patreons, and it impacts upon how much money I have at the end of the month, you know, those kind of things, you feel them in the fields, and it's hard not to take it personally and say, why have I lost Patreons? Like, have I said something to offend people? Have I done something wrong? Have I not made enough content? Is my content not good enough? Am I not talking about the right things? And you put pressure on yourself around all of those things surrounding it. And especially when you work on your own, you don't have anybody to bounce that kind of conversation off and have those ideas with. And that's what I mean when I was saying before about the biggest outtake is like, just be kind to people. You don't like, if you don't like somebody's content, don't watch it. If you don't agree with the way somebody runs their business, don't support them. But like nasty comments, shall we say, to put it politely, like nobody really needs that kind of thing. And certainly not piling on somebody when they're in a bad situation, whether it's through their own doing or not, sometimes the best thing to do is just to kind of ignore them completely. They know they're in the shit. They don't need more people to tell them they're in the shit, kind of thing. Let's have a little look here. Greg says, He-Man board game is great fun from Simon. Yeah, this isn't the Simon one I was talking about, mate. So, essentially... Oh, have I bit my lip there? I thought I'd bit my lip. I thought I could taste blood. Essentially what you've got is you've got two versions of the He-Man board game. There was a one that came out in Europe, which was made by Archon Studios, and there was the license basically for the US was made by Simon. And yeah, there were two very different games, completely different, but randomly both came out like sort of within a month of each other or something. And then just to confuse matters further, Archeon also released a He-Man skirmish game as well, which has nothing to do with the board game, completely separate, but made by the same company. So yeah, it just became a bit messy, I think. Haxan, thank you very much for joining the member program there, mate. I really appreciate it. It wasn't a pitch for new members and new Patreons, although I'm always open to that. I was just kind of telling you, you know, how it works, how it is, kind of thing. Let's have a little look here. Where were we up to here? VJ, he's on his own account now. Nice one, mate. VJ says he heard great things about the US Simon He-Man. Yeah, I have as well, mate. I never got offered that one. Lee says, I'm actually glad you've not been sent a copy of ShatterPoint, as I really don't feel I have a good, unbiased review of it yet. I'm still unconvinced after my loose demo. The problem we've got, mate, is that because I haven't been sent a review copy early, I'm now 3, 4, 5 weeks behind everybody else. And by the time I do any content with it, it's old news. Everybody's already seen what's in the box. Everybody's heard 25 different opinions. And it kind of devalues... And this is why I dislike YouTube to some extent. I'm a little bit jaded with YouTube at the minute because it's very much driven by drama, by negativity, by extreme views, and it never used to be in the board gaming and kind of miniature gaming kind of sphere. It's always been part of YouTube, but the hobby side of YouTube used to be like me making a video to show you I've painted up these models like this week. This is what it looks like. What do you think, kind of thing, or me trying to teach somebody, or here's how I paint my minis really fast to get them to the table, or here's some new stuff I've just bought, like this is what I think of it. That's the way the hobby sphere used to be. And as things have grown, and as people know how to get clicks now, and clickbait and thumbnails and extreme views drive money and drive income, and high views means you get sponsors and all of this kind of thing, I feel like our hobby, YouTube, if you like, has gone that way as well. We now get very extreme thumbnails. The best game ever, the worst game ever, like sort of that kind of things. And I'm a bit frustrated about that. I'm going on a tangent now. The other side of it is, if you're not first with your video about something, and generally what happens is the bigger channels, Games Workshop, send them stuff early so they get to talk about it early and they get all of the views. And the same things happen with the ShatterPoint stuff, is those channels have got their stuff early, they can get their videos out quickly, and everybody else, the smaller channels or the channels that don't get spoken to, don't get to ride that wave of the launch when everybody's excited, kind of thing. Now, that's not a bad thing. I've benefited from that in the past. There are companies I've worked with, Mantic Games is a prime example. They've kind of said to me, do you want to come down and film a video, like basically kind of like to chat about this particular game, kind of thing. Not for money, just for me to have that information early before other people. And that has worked in my benefit as well. So it's a double-edged sword, really. But the problem is when it's a big game like Warhammer 40,000, when it's a big game like Star Wars Shatterpoint, it almost puts me off making content about it in that early stage, because I think, well, it's just not going to get the views to justify the time I'm going to have to put into it to do a really kind of comprehensive review. That said, I've kind of changed my opinion on a lot of stuff, and these days I kind of making the content that I'm interested in, so I probably still will do it. But just to kind of put some context around that. Yoakum, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. I've just seen that ping up on the screen. He said, buy yourself a few beers when you meet the BlackJack Arena gang at UK Games Expo. I hope I can make it to the Expo next year. It would be an absolute pleasure, mate, to meet everybody next year as well and catch up. And the more the merrier. We could even try and tag a little BlackJack get-together as well onto it as well, and specify like one day is for everyone to hang out and play games together on the evening or something like that. Let's have a little look up here. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Lisa, I look forward to your review is what I'm saying. Well, yes, mate. I will after everything I've just said there, mate. I'll still do a review. Yeah. Christian sharing the link there as well for my Amazon affiliate link. Thank you very much. For anyone that doesn't know what an Amazon affiliate link is, if you're in the UK and you buy anything from Amazon, if you click my affiliate link, it takes you to the Amazon website. And then you just do your shopping as normal. It doesn't cost you any more. It doesn't like ship any faster or any slower. You wouldn't notice any different. But because you went through my affiliate link, Amazon said to me, thank you very much. Somebody clicked your link. Here is a small percentage as a commission. And it's a nice way to support a channel without it costing you any more money. So yeah, just to be transparent while we're talking about that kind of stuff tonight, that's how it works. You don't get charged any more for it. It doesn't remove any discounts or anything like that. Amazon pay me for sending people to their website. So as an example, we're talking about how things get how things make money and stuff. When I made the video about I bought the cheapest airbrush on Amazon, I did buy it on Amazon, and I did put my affiliate link in the description of the video. So if people wanted to go and click on that, they would be able to see the airbrush that I bought. And if they purchased anything when they visited the site, I would make a small commission. Because that video became huge, I think that video has done almost 400,000 views now. I made a nice little chunk of change from affiliate links for about a period of about a month while the video was flying high. That was a nice way to make some money out of a video, because I bought the airbrush myself. I didn't get it sent to me for a review or anything like that. I literally went on to Amazon, looked at airbrushes, filtered by cheapest to most expensive, and bought the cheapest one to make a video about it. So yeah, that's how Amazon affiliate stuff works anyway. Let's skip ahead a little bit where let's have a look. Oh, GC, and definitely forgot about Reddit. And yes, be aware of your biases. My mum always said, if you've got nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut. It's kind of hard, bro, as well. If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Clyde saying Malifaux for life. Warren Jones, good evening to you, mate. How are you doing? Matt saying, I have sausage fingers. I hear Malifaux minis are kind of delicate affairs to put together. I think this is another one of those kind of sort of myths that are out there. I don't find Malifaux minis any more difficult than Atomic Mass Games Marvel minis, than the small minis from let's say, what's it called, Necromunda and stuff like that. I don't find them any more difficult. However, you will always hear about Yanlo's beard, because there was a very, very small piece on a beard of one particular character. And there are sometimes some small pieces. However, I would say they fit together really, really well. And I wouldn't say they were difficult builds for for expert hobbyists or anything like that. I have more problems building Mantic minis when there's no instructions inside, and I haven't got a clue what weapon options are meant to go with which miniatures. So that gives you some kind of an idea. Oh, let's have a little look down and see what else we're going. Yeah, Type 40 Charters are saying Carnivale has the same issues. Yeah, and the problem they have as well with their minis is they're made of resin as well, so they're a bit more brittle. Matt's saying it's buying into the potential, the idea of what could be, rather than being realistic of the time we have to apply it. I think that's almost a dangerous place to be, isn't it? I think sometimes. Peter says, I'm enjoying it. Everything's built up and I'm painting it up right now. The terrain is already being used in games of Grimdark Futures. Well, if you're using it, mate, all power to you. He says, also, I love that I can have as many different forces without having to get 2,000 points of the same-ish models. Yeah, I get that as well, mate. Matt saying it's how my slightly buggered brain justifies buying extra gribbles. Yeah. Jimmy Moresco, hello, mate. He says, question. Which game do you prefer? Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game or GW's Lord of the Rings miniatures game? I can give you a really easy answer to that, mate. One, I've never played a Song of Ice and Fire, so I can't tell you anything about it. And I didn't enjoy Lord of the Rings strategy, what's it called? Middle-earth strategy battle game. I didn't enjoy it when I tried to play it, so I wouldn't choose any of those games, mate. If I was going to play like a rank and file kind of game, something a bit bigger scale, army-wise, I'd either go down the Kings of War route or I would go down the Conquest route, because I've played both of those games and I've enjoyed both of those games. So I can't really recommend the two that you're telling me about or that you're asking me about, because I haven't played one and I didn't really enjoy the other one. Everybody tells you that the Lord of the Rings game is GW's best ever game. I personally struggled to learn to play it from the rule book without any help from somebody teaching me, and I found I was constantly flicking backwards and forwards looking for particular rules. If you have somebody that can demo you the game and learn how to play it, or teach you how to play it, I should say, you may have a very different experience to what I did. Oh, something tastes funny in my mouth. Peter saying, yeah, Kill Team's been a breath of fresh air for him. So much stuff I would normally not get to paint. Yeah, it's nice to have those like little projects and stuff, mate. Luke says, have you decided on your forces for the God Tier event at UK Games Expo? I kind of have, mate, but there's no tactics involved. It's generally the models that I've painted, really, and the ones that fit in the little custom case thing that I made. So I'm probably going to go with... I'm toying with maybe taking one of them out at the minute, but I'm probably going to go with Rangosh, with Grimgut, with Wraith Maraid, and with Kira, and not Kira, sorry, with what's she called? The Centaur lady. I forget what she's called now. My mind's gone blank. I'm potentially thinking of taking out Wraith Maraid and putting it in Fenrir. I keep looking over there because Fenrir's on my shelf over there. Just because it was the last one that I've just painted. But there's no tactics to it, mate. It's more along the lines of everything fits in a case at the minute. It's all kind of custom made to fit their models in so they don't fall about. And those are the ones that are all painted. So yeah, I'm not expecting to win the event, mate, by any stretch of the mind. Greg says there are some people currently saying AMG is backing way off with local friendly gaming store orders, only a couple of copies like GW Technique. I think what's happening, mate, is I think they've been caught out with how popular it is, and I think some of their stock is kind of being delayed getting shipped from China where it's made. So I don't think they're not pulling back because they're trying to hold stock to sell direct kind of thing. I think it's selling even better than they expected, and I think what they're saying is some orders now, people who maybe pre-ordered later or haven't ordered yet might have to wait for the second wave, which comes in like about 2 weeks later or something like that. It's not a case of like this isn't being sold anymore. I think it's just a popularity thing, but there's more coming, if you like, quickly. Frantic says it's not always who puts a video out first. Sometimes people want to hear the opinions of their favourite channels. I 100% agree with that, mate. It's definitely the case. There are people who will trust certain people's opinions and will wait to hear what they say for things. I just think with some games, certainly the more popular ones, there's an element of I want to buy this as soon as that game comes out. Do I wait until it comes out and hear their opinion, or do I listen to the opinions of the people that got the game early and can tell me about it now? And I think there's an element of that, and it might not be a case of like some people will wait to hear those later opinions, but the big bulk of the views have been swallowed up by the channels that get the game early. Clyde says extreme hot take drama. Clicking like on BlackJack Legacy videos makes you a better gamer. It doesn't make you a better gamer, mate, but it will make you a nicer person all round. You'll feel a sense of warmth in your heart. You'll feel a sense of giving and support, and you can't put a price on that, mate, can you? You can't put a price on that. Vijay saying you need to make a channel that's just all hot takes all the time. Oh wait, someone already did. Ed saying just one more mini and my maybe challenge is done. Nice one, Ed. What have you been doing, or is it a secret? Vijay saying we can do a BlackJack meetup this year. I'm not coming back next year. Yeah, we can do it this year as well, mate. We can do that. VG saying Saturday night on the town. Oof, well, we'll see how that one goes, mate. We'll see how that goes. Tony saying, I think I'm going to start wrapping up work on his diorama now, starting to run out of steam. I think, mate, I tell you what, sometimes, mate, that's just how it is, isn't it? You do kind of like hit a bit of a brick wall. On a separate note, folks, and this is not kind of like, I'm not looking for like positive kind of praise here. How's tonight's chat been? Because I tell you what, this is why I said in the Patreon today was like basically, like sometimes I just, there isn't anything in like, there's nothing really happening that I feel is either big enough news or I'm interested in enough for it to be like the main topic for the video. Like I could have went for the full clickbait thing. We've been talking about the Quackalope thing tonight, and we've been talking about kind of how people get paid and about whether it's shady and all that kind of stuff. I could have went for the whole clickbait drama. We're going to talk about drama. Everybody come and join the chat kind of thing. But it was the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to draw people in to talk about drama. I fully anticipated speaking about it if it came up in the chat, but I did. So long story short, there wasn't really a main topic for tonight. But the chat's flowed. People have had plenty of things to say. It's always a positive atmosphere in here. Like that doesn't mean that it's kind of an echo chamber. People agree and disagree, but it's always done with positivity. Is my point. So, like, how is this gone? If there are weeks when I kind of there isn't really anything to chat about, are you happy to just kind of come along and have these kind of random rambly kind of chats and stuff? Or do you feel it's a bit lazy and it's like, oh, Andy hasn't put any work in this week? Like normally he kind of gets some nice slides and he has a bit of a presentation and he like all this kind of stuff. Sometimes there just isn't always something to talk about. So let me know what you think. Honest opinions. Be nice, please, though. Like I don't mean be positive. I mean be nice. But yeah, it's nice sometimes just to kind of to hear what you want to chat about. Talk about what you want to chat about. Yeah, Mark saying no instructions sucks. Kings of War for life. I agree, mate. It's to be fair as well to praise Mantic. On the one hand, where I would kick them for no instructions, they are starting to put instructions into the boxes now as well. So it's only taken about 11 years, but they are getting there. So yeah, Matt's saying even worse is when they come with instructions and they're poorly designed and you're left scratching your head and then you throw out the instructions. Yeah, so many companies now are putting them online, aren't they, where basically there's a QR code on a box or something where you scan it with your phone and you can find the build instructions, which I think is a good compromise. Although I do like having there's nothing better than building a Lego set with a really nice kind of like flicking that page to the next instruction and stuff. I quite like that, like as a method. So yeah, I do miss having an instruction book, I must say. Peter's saying, yeah, he loves Lord of the Rings game. Been there since box 1, so might be biased. You're not allowed to be biased, remember that. Warren says, I'm only at the expo on the Saturday, so I can't make the God Tier event, but I will pop over to watch for a bit and say hi. Please do, mate. Do not worry about coming over and interrupting me. Look, listen, I'm playing in the God Tier event, 1, because I love God Tier, and 2, because I want to get more games of it in, but I'm not expecting to win. I'm not. If I win a game during the day, so be it. Like I'd be happy with winning 1 game during the day, but I am not like taking this particularly seriously. So if you see me, please come over, say hello, introduce yourself. That's the other thing as well. If you do see me at Expo and you want to say hello, please do come and say hello. Don't be shy. Don't think, oh, like I don't want to bother him or anything like that. Like I'm not the most kind of forward of people or anything like that. I am. And please remember that I might not know what you look like, but you obviously know me. So like, don't be shy to just introduce yourself. Tell me who you are, whether it's your chat name or whether it's your real name or whatever it is. Just say hello, but just like, yeah, let me know. I say that because I once had a chat with, there was a guy came and said hello to me, and then he went into this conversation like a million miles an hour and was telling me all sorts of stuff and telling me all the different games he'd played and telling me what he'd been looking at, and we had this long conversation, and it got to a point in the conversation where I thought we've been chatting for too long for me to now say I don't know who you are, I'm not sure what your name is, kind of thing. It makes me look really kind of bad. So I had to just chat to this guy for ages and never did find out who it was. So yeah, please let me know who you are. But yeah, don't be worried about kind of sort of tap me on the shoulder or anything like that. I promise I won't bite. Clyde saying, yeah, he's enjoying it lively enough, like hanging out with chums. That's kind of how I see it as well, mate. That's how I see it. Deep Rate saying, I've learned a lot tonight. It's been put in a well-balanced way. Well done, old son. I think it's kind of... I'm always open to questions. Like, if people ask me questions, like in the chat and stuff like that, and they want to know the ins and outs of how, like, the kind of the whole YouTube behind the scenes works, or how this works for me as a business, I'm always open to answering questions. There might be questions where I say, look, I don't want to answer that, or I don't really have an answer that I can give you for it. But I'd never avoid stuff like kind of like and pretend, or like lie, for example. There are some things I obviously don't want to discuss, like there's personal things, like, you know, family life and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to share everything online. But when it comes to like sort of the vast majority of stuff, I'm just happy to kind of explain it, really. Ed's saying it's kind of secret. I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm looking forward to it then. VG saying he's enjoying the chat. Be great sharing it in person with another BlackJack crew. Nice one, mate. Yeah, and I hope your trip's off to a good start, mate. It sounds like you've got a fun-filled sort of trip packed in, so I look forward to chatting to you. Is it next weekend? Yeah, not this weekend, next weekend. Super Pumpkin Man says he's been preparing some stuff for Priming and he's not been paying much attention then. Fair enough, mate. RPD saying, yeah, just nice to chill. Warren saying he's enjoying the chat. Don't often get to join the live show, but this is cool. Thank you. Blizzard is saying it's been great. We don't always need a main subject. I think in my head, mate, like the way I used to start doing the main subjects was because like I wanted to try and have a hook to have people go, oh, that looks interesting. I'll click on it and I'll go and join the chat kind of thing. But unfortunately, that it can be a double-edged sword. That people then go, oh God, I've been here 20 minutes and he hasn't talked about that thing yet, kind of thing. Or it can be a case of it draws in people that maybe don't get what these chats normally like when it's kind of full of community members and stuff like that. So it's a double-edged sword, mate. It's a double-edged sword. RG, I think it's been great, and I bet it wasn't what you were expecting 90 minutes ago. It never is, mate, to be fair. Like the chat goes where the chat goes, so it's never always what I expect. I think the side is I'm somebody that likes to be a little bit prepared, I think, and I feel underprepared when I do these kind of like random rambly stuff. So if I'm going to talk about something, I like to talk about it with some kind of experience or knowledge. And obviously I can't know everything about everything. So if I'm talking about a particular main topic, I obviously put the effort in and do a bit of a research, where these ones leave me a little bit like, oh, like anything could come at me here. And then whatever I say is out there forever kind of thing. So I just have to make sure that I have to let it mull over in my brain, let my brain get into gear before my mouth starts talking, really. Matt says, I'm liking it. You've got a good take on things and I get to see different perspectives and go, all right, maybe, yeah, there's another way to see it. Yeah, I'm generally kind of somebody that I sometimes like to play devil's advocate. I like to try and kind of like see things from the other side, even if it's not my opinion. Like, why do people feel like that? Why are those people getting angry about that thing? I don't understand it, but I'd like to understand, or I don't see it that way. I'd like to understand why they think it's something different. So I do like to try and kind of see things from both sides and then form an opinion, but I appreciate that. Funny enough, that doesn't get you clicks or views. Ed saying, chat was good, was hoping we weren't going to get some nonsense about ill-considered comments made about World War II games. Yes, that was another bit of drama as well, and I won't go into that drama. However, what I would say about that kind of stuff is that it's sometimes manufactured to do exactly what it does. What you can do is you can say something controversial or ill-informed in this case on a video, knowing full well it will blow up into a bit of a mini drama, which gets you lots of clicks and lots of views. And then what will happen is other channels will go, oh, that's getting loads of views, that's getting loads of clicks on that. What I'll do is I'll make a video about that and tell everybody what I think about it. And then those videos get loads of clicks, and then they attract their viewers, and they go, oh, I didn't know about this drama thing going on. I'll go back and watch the original video to find out what it's all about. And that video gets loads more clicks and loads more views, and then YouTube's algorithm goes, oh, what's happening here? People keep coming back and watching that video. They must be enjoying it. What I'll do is I'll share that out to a wider audience. And that is essentially how drama and negativity and sometimes saying things intentionally provocative, not because you believe it, but because you know it works. That's what YouTube has become. That's what hobby YouTube has become. It's gone away from like kind of, look at these cool minis that I've got, look at this cool game I've playing, look how much fun I'm having with this product kind of thing. It's gone away from that, and I miss that stuff. I'll be honest. I know exactly what I should do to kind of to gain viewers and gain subscribers and gain clicks and make more money. I can't bring myself to sell my soul to the devil to do it. That's the problem. Tony says, not enough dancing Geordies. Where are the dancing Geordies? I'm officially not a Geordie, mate, so you'll never see a dancing Geordie on this channel. Vijay says, we don't need a topic, just have a chance to chat with you and the rest of the crew once a week is a highlight and something to look forward to. Oh, thank you very much, mate. Ed saying, one criticism actually there, where was the bacon sandwich chat? So, as you know, as I've mentioned before, I've been super, let me get comfy here. I'll tell you what I'll do. If I raise my seat up a little bit, I can kind of lie back and I can get my microphone a bit closer here. Well, we're going to have cozy time. Just me and you. There's just us chatting now. As you know, I've been trying to live a more healthy lifestyle. I've started with my gym stuff. So what I haven't like signed up to a gym. I've basically signed up to like an exercise program where basically I have like classes that I go to, hour-long classes where I'm basically being taught sort of strength training, where somebody's telling me what to do, showing me how to perform the exercises properly. Have you got enough weight on, like spotting me, making sure I'm doing all this kind of stuff right. And I basically do that like 3 times a week. There are extra classes I can go to, but I'm not fit enough to attend them ones yet. So I've been exercising, and I'll be honest, I've started to lose weight. Quelle surprise, you start moving more, you start losing weight. So my weight's starting to come down. I'm hoping by the time I get to Expo, somebody might even notice it. So even I feel like I look like I've got a slightly slimmer face on the screen tonight. Anyway, so I've been exercising more. That's also meant that I've been eating more healthy as well. Eating more protein, eating sort of chicken, fish, vegetables, fruits. I've cut out all the snacks, no crisps, no chocolate. I actually haven't had a beer for almost 3 weeks now. Is it right? Or is it longer than that? Maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Not because I've kind of give up the beer, but because I'm not drinking at home and I haven't had a night out. I did have a whiskey sitting outside in the sunshine the other night, where out in the garden because it was lovely. So I did have a glass of whiskey sitting outside. But I've kind of knocked the booze on the head just because I'm not drinking at home. And I'm starting to feel much more healthy. Where the hell am I going with this story? So bacon sandwiches have been off the menu a little bit. I did have a sausage sandwich on Saturday morning for my breakfast. We went out as a family to this like nice kind of restaurant down by the marina, and we had breakfast out. We ate out, and I had a nice, really kind of nice sausage and mushroom sandwich for my breakfast as a bit of a treat. But I haven't had bacon sandwich in a long time now. Yeah, maybe we need a new we need a new food product to start talking about. Yeah, Fiji saying we can always talk about bacon butties. Orgy says random chat's good. It's a good group of people. So actually this works and gives you a chance not to stress about a topic. It can be stressful, mate. I'll be honest. Sometimes, like when it comes to a Monday morning, I'm like, what the hell am I going to chat about today? Sometimes it is stressful. So it's good that this kind of stuff works. Lee saying, which days are you at Expo this year? I'm there with friends on Friday and Saturday. I'm there from Thursday night, mate, all the way through to the Sunday. So yeah, I will definitely be there the Friday and the Saturday when you're around. So if you want to, feel free to drop me a message, mate. If you want to kind of grab a coffee or anything, or you just want to say hi, or if you see me, give me a tap on the shoulder or whatever. It would be nice to kind of say hi face to face. Where the hell did that go? Matt saying, yeah, it was a potentially interesting conversation. but it was delivered in such a cack-handed way with no nuance. Yeah, I must admit, I didn't watch all of it, mate. I just kind of watched some of it and saw the drama unfolding. VG said, I'll make sure I introduce myself. Yeah, because I've got no idea what you look like, mate. Tiny War Games, hello, mate. He says, hi all, who's playing What a Cowboy? I haven't played it yet, mate, but I have to admit, I think I might potentially pick up the book when I'm at UK Games Expo. I almost bought it online, but I thought, you know, I might as well wait and try and pick it up from somewhere at Expo. So I haven't played it yet, but I do like the look of it, mate. Clyde said I need to nab me some Western minis, yeah. Matt saying bacon butties used to be brown sauce, a decent farm loaf and about 4 rashers. Then my stomach was like gluten. I dislike that now. RPD saying, have you ever played any of the Steamforged Resident Evil games? I have, mate. I have played Resident Evil 2. You will see there's a review on my channel about it, and I quite like it, actually. I backed the Kickstarter when the Kickstarter came out a long time ago, and I never backed any of the subsequent ones because for me personally, by the time I'd backed the original Kickstarter and got expansions and got all the sorts of other bits and pieces, I didn't feel like I needed like another 2 or 3 Resident Evil games. So not because they're bad, but just because I quite enjoyed the one that I had. So I've got Resident Evil 2. I've enjoyed playing it. And if you have a look on my channel, in fact, if you just put Resident Evil 2 board game review, I think my video might actually be the one that's top of the list. It's had quite a few views. So yeah, that's what I think of it anyway, mate. Yeah. Matt saying now it's just a mission finding gluten-free bread that doesn't taste like potato. Yeah, I must admit I've tried to cut back on my bread intake just because I used to eat a lot of it, but I'm not like intolerant or anything like that. I just it just doesn't agree with my waistline. That's all. HP sauce and the bacon sandwich. I do like that, mate. 33 pieces are ready for priming at the stream. Nice one, mate. James says, so I gave up my painting job over the weekend. Gave up my painting job. What had you been painting something, mate? You just quit on it. Is that what it was? Yeah, VJ saying brown sauce, HP or tomato sauce. I'm happy with any of them. And VJ says, now I need to know what this World War II comment drama. I didn't see this. It was essentially around to put a really short kind of thing around what is it was the problem with this is how it was framed. The big problem with historical war games is someone has to play the Nazis, was essentially where the video went from. And we can all agree Nazis are bad, but that doesn't mean that you can't play the Germans in a miniatures war game kind of thing. They're very like you know, it's not necessarily the same thing. So yes, that was the whole. Yeah, so that was where it went, but I don't want to get into the drama about it. But that was the basis of it, shall we say? Yeah, in front of saying it was a if you're playing a historical war game and you collect player Germans, Nazis, you must fancy them in real life too. That was kind of where it ended up. Yeah. Luke saying strength training is my favourite thing in the world now. I love it so much, and it's great because if you track your lifts, you can see progression easily. Yeah, I must admit I'm kind of enjoying it's maybe not the right word because I am finding it hard because I live a very, very sedentary lifestyle. Like I don't go out much. Like I don't go walking very often. I haven't got a job where I'm lifting heavy things. Like, you know, resin miniatures are not that heavy. I don't know if you've noticed. And I've said before I had some heart issues as well, and so I've essentially really pulled back from physical exercise. And what I'm finding now, getting back into stuff, is I am really 2 things are happening really. One is I'm way less fit than I should be really, and than I have been in the past. I used to run like kind of, you know, like Tough Mudder type stuff and 10k runs and play sports and stuff. I'm nowhere near that. So I'm much more out of shape than I thought I was, and I'm also massively frustrated that I can't do the things I used to do, and it's frustrating me that fitness isn't coming back in the space of like 5 minutes kind of thing. It's taken me a long period of time to build up my strength again, to build up my fitness again, and that's why I'm frustrated by it. So I wouldn't say I was enjoying it at the minute, but that's more about my frustrations at myself But the fact that my body fat's coming down, we do those biometric tests every 2 weeks and stuff where they check all the different points around your body and measure your body fat and stuff. That's coming down. I'm lifting like sort of heavier weights. I'm exercising more kind of thing. It's motivating, but I wouldn't say I was at the enjoying it stage yet. Kerry Rivers, hello Kerry. Says, hi Andy, I met you at UK Games Expo in 2019. You were very approachable. I'm glad. Phew, I thought you were going to say something horrible there. And I would just like to say it was the highlight of the day for me. Take care, mate, and all the best. That's very, very kind of you, Kerry. I really appreciate that. It was. It's always a pleasure meeting folks that watch my stuff. Like at the end of the day, without you watching this, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you very much for the very, very kind words. Yeah, Pete's saying, so yeah, that kind of thing. I love the Nurgle model, so I must have liked COVID. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Zingo says that's not a very accurate take on it, but it's a take that all the outrage-driven response videos assume the video was about. Yes, we should say that as well. As I did say before, I didn't watch the whole thing, but that was how it started, and that was the drama that everybody created from it. Yeah, good point. Let's have a look. Luke's saying I played What a Cowboy over the last 2 weeks. It's good fun. I've watched the demo games of it, and it looks like my kind of thing, to be fair. So yeah, I'd quite like to try it. 2 questions, says Tasty Brain Drain. What's the questions for the May Painting Challenge, and could you repeat the email address to send to? Yes, email address is dead easy to remember. It's BlackJack Legacy, all one word, all lowercase, at gmail.com. So that is that's the email address. And the date is, the closing date, I think we said, is, yeah, it's Sunday the 4th of June. Sunday the 4th of June is the closing date. And we will look at all of the different entries on Monday the 5th of June, the Monday back after the UK Games Expo. So you have until Sunday the 4th of June to get your entries in. So James is saying my painting job was me packing away my mini painting station. I wasn't painting and just annoying me staring at it. I'll return to it in time. Yeah, we were just briefly chatting about that today, mate. And I completely understand what you mean. And I think there's an element as well is when more and more people are working at home now, and generally people are working in the spaces that they use for their hobby. It affects me as well, I'll be perfectly honest. This is my hobby room now as well. Like, it was a bit different when I had the studio and a hobby room separately. But since I started filming in here, I'll be honest, when I'm sitting here during the day doing work and stuff, it's like that it doesn't always fill me with excitement to sit here again on a night time and sit in a hobby as well. So there is a balance to that as well. Now I know you work from home a lot as well, and you're in that same office kind of thing where your hobby. There's an element about having a little bit of delineation and a bit of space. Like, it's nice to finish your job and come home and do some hobby kind of thing. But I think when you're in that room all day, I think that the fun definitely does go a little bit. Matt says, I've got a buggered back and I totally hear you pulling back from exercise. Problem being, if I overexert, it'll lead to an aggravated pair of discs, and those sort of spicy when they go. Yeah, I've got a bit of a niggly ankle at the minute as well, mate. And I found that like obviously trying to get back into exercise and stuff like that, I've got this, like, because I'm so unfit now and I've never really done strength training before, I'm at this weird stage where I'm thinking, when I'm doing something, is like, oh, is that this? I'm like, is that feeling I've got in my back when I'm lifting this weight? Is that because the weight's too heavy for me? Am I about to pull a muscle? Is that just the muscle being tight because it's being worked like I don't normally work it? Or am I doing something wrong? And it's my brain doesn't know yet, like, what my body's telling me is to either say, whoa, knock it on the head, that's about a snap, or just keep going, look, it's because you don't normally use it. So I'm still kind of finding my feet, and I'm still learning with all this kind of stuff, really. I've always been more into like cardio and doing sports and stuff. I've never really been into strength training, but yeah, I'm finding strength training easier to get into because it's less about my physical fitness and it's more about, like, I can lift a lighter weight and still do the reps, and then when I get a bit better I can lift a heavier weight, where I'm finding with the exercise, with the actual, like, the cardio things, like, I'm exhausted really quick, and I'm frustrated that I can't run like I used to run, and I can't like sort of I'm not at that fitness level, and that's frustrating. James says if anyone sees Andy at UK Games Expo, he will 100% guarantee that he can double your money playing blackjack at the casino. Small, there's some fine print there, some small print. May not actually be true. Clyde says halfway through the monthly challenge, World War II based. Boy, as historic World War II things bland to paint after doing Marvel Crisis Protocol. There is that as well, mate. There's a lot of greys and browns and greens, isn't there, in there World War II stuff. Yeah, Clyde said you never know how many shades of olive there are until you have to use them all. Definitely, mate. RPD saying I hope you do a fighting fantasy book soon. Yeah, I think we're probably not far away from doing another one. I think we'll definitely we'll squeeze one of them in over the summer. RG says excited. I thought the painting challenge ended this weekend. I might get inspired. I might have given this weekend as the original date, mate, if I'm honest. But I've just extended it if that's the case. We'll give people a bit more time. And Ed saying I paint on the dining room table, so I'm not in the office and I'm in the same room as my wife. Yeah, I've tried that for a little bit as well, and I found that was quite handy as well, sitting in the same room together. She might be watching a show or kind of like doing some work or something like that, like working late. At least we got to kind of sit and have a conversation and stuff. But I've not really painted much in a while, I'll be honest. I've definitely kind of not fell out of love with painting, but I'm not feeling motivated to paint at the minute. And I'm hoping Star Wars stuff coming through the post will kind of give me a little bit of a kick. I've been looking forward to that for some while. And I'm also hoping as well, just getting to UK Games Expo, chatting to people, seeing all the different games out there, getting inspired by all the fancy demo tables and all that kind of stuff, seeing some cool minis, chatting to some people in the industry, and being surrounded by general nerdy stuff. I'm hoping that kind of, and also having a break from being at my desk all the time as well, being somewhere else. I'm expecting, because it's happened before when I go, I'm expecting to come back kind of enthused and full of enthusiasm again. So yeah, Clyde saying yeah, the painting mojo comes and goes. It definitely does, mate. It definitely does. So let me have a little drink. So folks, we're kind of getting towards the end of this now. I feel like my rambly conversation's kind of running its course now. Anybody's got any questions, absolutely bang them in the chat now. Now's the time to kind of ask your questions before we start to kind of wrap up the end of the chat. But if people have got questions, I will 100% kind of hang on and answer bits and pieces. Anything that's coming up soon, shall we say? I have got the Elfall Chronicles game arrived, and I've been working through kind of learning how to play that and stuff, and I'll have a review of that coming up very, very soon. So we will have that. What else we got? The demon ship stuff. I've just saw it there. It's on the table at the minute. I bought the file myself. They didn't send me any file. Nobody contacted me about it. I just like the quirky little idea of that like mini game. So I'm gonna make a video about that. Not necessarily a review of it, because I don't think it's not the kind of game that needs a review. It's more about the idea of like is there more to this, like as like a miniature project in a self-contained game, rather than like kind of like is this better than Warhammer kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to kind of doing something with that. Luke said he's calling it a night. It's nice to catch a live stream, and he's saying looks forward to catching people at the expo. Take care, mate. Speak to you soon. Peter saying anything specific you're excited to see at the expo? One thing I'm excited to see is I'm excited to see all of the Moonstone stuff. I've only ever seen Moonstone stuff online and like in photographs, and I'm excited to actually see the range in the flesh and have a chat with Tom Greenway and the Moonstone gang and actually just see it up close, because it really is a game that kind of it ticks a lot of the boxes of the things that I like in a game, and I like the fact that their miniatures are a bit quirky and a bit different. So I can see me maybe picking up some bits and pieces from Moonstone. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing them in the flesh. I hope to get a SharePoint demo as well. I think that Asmodee, I've got like a Star Wars stand. I'd quite like to try the Star Wars card game as well, which I'm hoping will be there as well, and maybe give that a little demo. There's quite a few bits and pieces that I just want to kind of get around and have a look at as well. So yeah, there's a few bits and pieces, mate. I might next Monday on the live stream, kind of put together a list of like 10 things I'm looking forward to kind of seeing. That might be a good little kind of talking point for next week. Mark Selinsky saying, yeah, have to look into Demon Ship. Yeah, definitely, mate. Vijay said he's excited for Expo, first big international convention. The tables, the games, the bacon sandwiches. I can't promise good bacon sandwiches, mate. I'm not really sure. From a food perspective, I can't comment on whether bacon sandwiches will be freely available. Blizzard saying, right, that's 20 halfling battle beagles built. Easy to say, mate. And Deep Red's off to bed. Take care, he says. Nice one. Clyde says, I heard Demon Ship is brutal hard. I think it's kind of, it is a hard game, but it's also a game, a bit like a roguelike game, like a little bit like kind of Dark Souls, where you learn from each playthrough, and it's small enough that you just reset and go again kind of thing, and it's fast enough. So I think it's kind of like, yeah, I think it's a game where almost like you kind of like, oh, well, that was a stupid thing to do. Let's reset and go again kind of thing, and not do that again kind of thing. So yeah, I think it does look good. Vijay said he's hoping he can get a few ding and dent bargains. Yeah, definitely check out the Bring and Buy, mate. That's the place to be. When you first get there on the Friday, get yourself straight into the Bring and Buy. Definitely worth checking in there. Clyde said he hopes the Star Wars card game has staying power. Yeah, I used to enjoy Destiny, mate. I'm not necessarily a card game fan in general, but Star Wars is always lights a few fires for me, yeah. Peterson, yeah, Moonstone stuff looks awesome, but indeed, only ever seen it in pictures. Good idea on the list. I always go prepared to shows or get overwhelmed. Yeah, me the same as well, mate. And Demon Ship says, do you mean Ghost Boat? In fact, let's see if I can kind of just show on camera here. Let's just drag this over a little bit. So, I'm not sure how well this will show up, and I'll try not to drop everything. But essentially, they're not magnetized, they're just placed on top. I tell you what, let me take some of these bits of furniture off here so they don't all scatter all over the place. Because what you've got is, he says, just scattering things around the tabletop here. The game plays that is the board. So as you can see, this is resin 3D printed. Let me just, there, you can see this is like 4 separate tiles, and it also comes, I've glued them together, but it also comes with room in the back as well to put magnets in. And the idea is the little bits of furniture that you have, like this is a doorway with a little platform, you can put magnets in there as well. So when it says put the magnet on the board, you can drop that on and it magnetizes it, and it just kind of holds it in place. I don't think I'm going to magnetize mine, but that's what you've got. So you've got like little bits of terrain and stuff. This is like a little kind of console terminal that you have to go and switch on, and basically kind of, I'll see if I can get a little bit closer there. I'll see if I can get this a bit closer to the camera to show it off. There we go. So what you do is basically there's little maps in the rule book, and you roll a dice and you go, all right, I've rolled a 6. Okay, what's number 6? Number 6 is a corridor, shall we say? So you set it up according to the map, and there's a version A and a version B. So you decide which ones you're using for the game, and you set it up as the corridor, and you come in the entrance. There'll be something you have to do, because the game plays in like different sections, where the first section's in darkness, so you can only see so far, and you're trying to find the console to restore the power to the ship. The next bit is once you've restored the power, now you can see further and for like line of sight and stuff like that and range, and you have to sort of go and find the escape pod or something like that. And there's like little bits and pieces. Like this is the, let me get a bit closer to the screen. This is the little Survivor mini. You can just see that. So yeah, it's like, and there's bits of crates. There's little bits of furniture. There's like this is like a little, almost like a pallet thing that covers 4 squares. The only things I haven't printed off are the bigger walls yet. They're the next things to come off the printer tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But I like the idea of it, as in it's self-contained. Like, I bought the digital package which came with the PDF rules and the files to print all of this terrain and miniatures off. And it's like the game doesn't expand from there. I don't need to buy an army kind of thing. I don't need to set up a full table. I now don't need to go and like make loads of terrain and stuff for it. You can use any miniatures you want, but it came with like sort of miniature sculpts, so those are the ones I've printed off. And it's a nice little self-contained painting project, but it's also like a perfect little kind of mini game that you know, in the way you pick up like a Nintendo Switch and play a little bit of handheld game, and I'm just going to play for 20 minutes kind of thing, and then I'm going to put it down. I almost feel that you could do that with this, as almost that kind of like pick up and play for small periods of time. Oh, I'm going to have a couple of runs of Demon Ship while I'm kind of waiting for tea to cook or something like that. It's got a bit of a different feel to it, and I find it a really kind of cool, quirky idea. I mean, sort of miniature, or mini, sort of compact games have been a bit more well known, I think, within the board game stuff. Like, you know, like travel games and things like that. You just don't seem to get them in the miniatures world quite so much. So yeah, I think there's a video in like talking about that, and the fact that you can 3D print it, as well as the fact that they make a physical version in like MDF and stuff as well. I quite like that. Peter's saying, VG saying Star Wars card game that's coming, or the deck building game. I'm loving the deck building game at the moment. Both, mate, to be honest. I'd like to try both, if I'm being perfectly honest. James is saying, what is this game? Yeah, it is Demon Ship, mate, yeah. Clyde says, I need to see a few playthroughs on Demon Ship to see if I'll buy it. The minis look excellent. I think it's just like, I mean, I'll do like a proper review of it about how the game plays, but it's not, this is not Warhammer 40,000. This is not like Space Hulk or something like that. It's quite much more straightforward kind of thing, and there's a lot of like, kind of, if you get a 4+, it's a success. If you get a 1 with 3, the aliens succeed kind of thing. It's like, it's not like stat lines and things like that, but it's got a little bit of a RPG feel to it. There's a little bit of like a little bit dungeon crawler-esque feel to it. I just think it's a really, really cool little game. James is saying, I like the black side stuff, but can be awkward, expensive to get those bits in the UK. 100%, mate. 100%. If you've got a 3D printer and you're willing to print the other stuff out, the digital only pledges, I think, are fantastic. I would say sometimes the digital only pledges are not the cheapest as well, which is kind of like, it can be quite expensive, and I think that's when it gets a little bit kind of like, oh, do I really want to pay like $90 or something for digital files? This Demon Ship thing, I think, cost me $30 in total, which with the exchange rate was probably about 22 £22, something like that. For that kind of price, I'm not too worried about like supporting a creator and trying something a bit new. I'd like to see more of these kind of little miniature kind of, they're almost travel games, especially with the magnets in the bottom as well. You could almost take these like in a little box on holiday kind of thing. VJ says, I watched the Mantic Vault videos on my flight over here, and I saw they mentioned scaling the STLs up and down, and it made me realise that I could use the files to do Travel, Scale, Armada, Kings of War, or Dead Zone. Yeah, definitely. You could definitely kind of scale those things down. I'm not a huge fan of like 6mm miniatures, but you definitely could do that kind of stuff. And Clyde said, I don't mind hard games, but games that kick you in the teeth, just because that GW game from a few years back with all the scouts in the jungle. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a hard game. It's not hard to play and it's not hard to learn, but it's a bit like a fighting fantasy book in terms of like, so sometimes the dice are just not going to go for you, and you might die kind of thing, and you're going to have to reset and go again. So think of it along the lines of like fighting fantasy hard, as opposed to like, this is just a difficult game to play. Like it's like, it's tough to win as opposed to tough to play. Anyway, we managed to keep that going till nearly 11 o'clock there. So I think now is the perfect time to wrap it up. I'm going to get a good night's kip back to the back on the weights tomorrow for my second session of the week. I also have an appointment in the afternoon as well, so my day is a bit full. So yeah, I was trying to think. I'm not sure if I'll get that Eldfall Chronicles video finished this week, but we might. we'll see how we go. If not, I might try and squeeze in this demon ship video about that instead. So take care, folks. Thank you very, very much for the chat tonight. Thank you very much to those folks who donated as well to Yoakum and Haxan tonight. I really do appreciate your support. It helps keep the channel going, and I thoroughly appreciate it. Thank you as well to all of my Patreons who keep the lights on. You are wonderful people, and I very much appreciate your support. And I'll just end with what I was talking about before, really. Just be nice to people. Please just try and spread a little bit of love around. And if everyone's piling onto somebody, even if you think it's deserved, they don't need to hear it for the 100th time. Just let them learn from their mistakes and let them get over it. Take care, folks, and I will see you all next Monday.